One of the biggest sources that we have for toxic exposure is this, your receipt. Now, I'm wearing rubber gloves because I want to be able to do this video and handle this receipt and not have to touch all the toxic chemicals on here. But I'm going to tell you something really special about this receipt. So the receipts that we get in the store, and this particular chemical is actually in a lot of other things that we don't even think about. But let's just talk about these because these are super common. So the receipts that we get in the store, this is called thermal paper, and it has BPA in it. Now, you've probably heard the term BPA, Bisphenol A, and there are so many things that BPA is used in. So another really common place that you'll find BPA is in the lining of your Starbucks cup, or the lining of tin cans, or when you go, if you get meat from the butcher, the little paper tray that they put your meat in, that has BPA lining in it. And then they put little plastic, wax paper over top of it that has BPA in it. So we are surrounded by this. It's in your water bottles. It is anywhere and everywhere. In fact, if we all peed in a cup right now, we all would have significant amounts of BPA in our bodies. This is especially dangerous for pregnant women because of the growing fetus. So even if you're not pregnant, though, these types of chemicals can lead to very toxic diseases like cancer. But even leading up to that, they can contribute to autoimmune issues. They can create inflammation. They can cause brain issues, feed into things like ADD, ADHD, anything toxic to the brain. Think of Parkinson's, dementia. This is a toxic chemical that you do not want exposure to. So usually what happens if I go to the store, I try to get on their email list. And so I will ask for an email receipt. I rarely take these. If they give them to me, I ask them just to put it in. So I hold the bag open and then I say, just put it in the bag. And then when I get home, I may just, pick it up like this, or I'll grab my gloves and I'll pick it up. And if I need to save it, I'll put it in an envelope or put it in the drawer, or I'll take a picture of it and digitally file it. So because I know, we need our receipts for something, but we don't need them making us sick. And I see this a lot too, where you're in the store and you've got your kids with you, and then the kid wants to hold the receipt. So you're like, oh, here, and you hand the kid your receipt. Do not let your children hold this. Your hands are so highly absorbable of all these toxic chemicals. And so with us constantly touching these, it goes right into our bloodstream. And we cannot afford to have all of this chemical in our blood. And then again, it's in your water bottles. And even if something says BPA free, trust me, many of these companies have replaced it with some other type of forever chemical that is still harmful and inflammatory to your brain, your nervous system, and your overall state of well-being. The other really dangerous thing about BPA and these receipts is this chemical is what's known as a hormone disruptor. And so that is exactly what it sounds like, or endocrine disruptor. You'll hear that term as well. It means it messes with your hormones. So even from kids, really young kids, girls getting their periods really early, boys going through puberty super early. And then we have so many young women who have irregular, painful periods, and then they're put on birth control to regulate the periods as teenagers. And that's not the answer. We have to reduce the toxic load. Then as we get older, we then can get issues like infertility because these chemicals, unless you know the strategy to get them out of your body, they're going to have a hard time leaving. So you want to avoid these at all cost. And then, just basic things like good, healthy lifestyle. If you're exercising, sweating, all of the sweat moves toxins out of your body. Make sure you're eating properly so that you can make sure you're moving the toxins through your gut. If your gut is not if you're not having a bowel movement every single day, at least a couple, then you're retaining these even more. And that just builds up and builds up and builds up. Can cause autoimmune issues. It can cause so many long-term chronic diseases. So you just want to avoid these at all costs. Now, I do want to say, I looked at the back of this. This is from Marshalls and Home Goods. So I'm pretty impressed. And it says, this receipt is phenol-free and may be recycled. So I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? So then I'm like, well, what kind of paper is this actually? So before I risked not touching it with my gloves, I will actually look up what kind of paper they use. Because like I said, that's pretty impressive if they're thinking we're not going to use paper, this thermal paper with bisphenol A. The thing also with these receipts and with other types of paper or other types of plastics that have BPA in them is when you recycle it, it just goes back into something else. So let's say this now gets recycled and becomes toilet paper. And now we know what we all do with that. So you're going to take these toxic chemicals, it's going to get recycled, and now it becomes toilet paper. It's so dangerous. So I would say if you get these receipts, just throw them away. Don't recycle them. Keep them out of our recycling system so that we don't keep exposing ourselves to the same things and having it amplify in our bodies and in our environment. So, okay, so that's it. Leave these. If you can, get an email receipt. Don't touch them. And then, of course, try not to get your coffee shop, your Starbucks, your whatever coffee you're getting, because again, you're just pouring that hot liquid in there and it's just amplifying that and you're drinking all that toxic chemical. It's so terrible. So, all right, that's your lesson on BPA. If you can start with the receipts, start there, and happy shopping. Get email receipts. All right, you guys, I hope you like this. Let me know what your thoughts are and what do you think about these receipts? I'd like to know. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I appreciate you.